This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 777 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you one day at a time. Today's tip is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. Hi, Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is from Michelle Bergeron of Right Lead Equestrian Center in Louisiana. Michelle is a graduate of Louisiana Scholars College, a North American Riding for the Handicapped registered instructor, British Horse Society certified instructor, and a certified instructor and judge for the World Side Saddle Federation, not to mention an all-around amazing horsewoman. This time, Michelle and I make watering your horses easier and give you some horseshoeing homework. And we'll get to our tip right after this from Kentucky Performance Products.
This Nutrition Minute is brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, the company that simplifies your search for research-proven nutritional supplements at kppusa.com.
If you've ever had a horse with diarrhea, you know what a frustrating problem it can be. Finding an ingredient that works to dry up the diarrhea becomes a high priority. It turns out that researchers have found one, a yeast called Saccharomyces boulardii. It has been proven to improve and halt episodes of diarrhea. It supplies specific nutrients to the lining of the small and large intestines, and these nutrients promote healing of irritated tissues. It also supports improved starch and sugar digestion in the small intestine, reducing the opportunity for imbalances to occur in the hindgut. Nalox Advanced, made by Kentucky Performance Products, contains Saccharomyces boulardii, along with a blend of fermentation solubles and stomach buffers. Nalox Advanced is recommended for horses of any age that are suffering from diarrhea. It also supports a healthy digestive tract in horses at risk for gastric or colonic ulcers, such as performance horses or any horse that is constantly on the go and exposed to stressful situations. For best results, Nalox Advanced should be fed on a daily basis.
This Nutritional Minute has been brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. You can find all of their terrific products at kppusa.com.
And welcome back, Michelle Bergeron from Right Lead Equestrian Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I love to say Baton Rouge.
Well, very good. You should come in and say it more. Come visit again.
But
you're
not a native Louisianan, are you?
No, I'm not. I was born in Missouri.
I thought so. But Rick is your husband.
Yes, he is. Just from down the road in Donaldsonville.
Okay, because I thought, well, no, Rick sounds like he's from Louisiana. You do not. And Missourians don't really have much of an accent.
Well, I didn't live there long. I've lived here most of my life since I was 5.
Oh, wow. You're practically a native.
Just about. Yeah. My mom's from here.
Was your home filled with Cajun sounds when you were a kid?
Mm-mm.
No?
No, but Ricky's was.
Oh, so your whole family did not embrace it.
Well, my dad's from Kansas.
Okay. And the
but yeah, we didn't listen to Cajun music or anything like that. When we'd come to visit my grandparents here, we'd go to the crawfish boil or things like that, go to New Orleans and do those sort of things. But it wasn't anything we actively tried to do. We just lived like normal people, I guess. I don't know.
Let me get this right. Wasn't Mark Twain from Missouri?
I believe so, yes.
I'm going to have to Google that.
But see, I guess it doesn't really count as because I was born on an air base. My dad was in the Air Force.
Well, yeah, you were one of those, got it. You were a world traveler.
A little bit.
I'm looking
United States traveler. We didn't unfortunately. I wanted desperately to get stationed in Europe
I bet you did. Because you wanted to go ride those fancy European horses, didn't you?
Any kind, didn't matter, fancy, ugly, it didn't matter.
Well, I'm going to credit your clever inventiveness to being born in Missouri, which is where Mark Twain was from, and he was very clever. So that's what we're going to go with.
I take that as a big compliment.
There we go. So what is your handy-dandy tip of the day, Michelle?
My tip of the day. You've seen those stall fronts that have those gorgeous bars, and they're very effective for keeping horses in their stalls. They're not reaching out and biting their friends or their enemies as they walk by, and keeping everything nice and orderly in your barn.
Yes, and they look great. You can look in there and see his happy, smiling face.
Yep. Now, the problem comes, and maybe it's not a problem for tall people, but I'm short, and we had stall fronts that had bars on them, and you'd have to reach your arm way in there to reach the water bucket to fill it up. It was hard to see, and it's really not safe to be sticking your arm through there, especially if maybe you have a young horse or a horse that's new to you and is not familiar with the area. Maybe he's a little worked up. So Ricky actually came up with this, so he gets to have the credit here. You take your standard just nozzle, that you squeeze the handle on, and they have threads on the end. So he cut a piece of hose. It was probably 1.5 feet long, screwed it onto the end of our sprayer, and then we could safely stick the end of the hose into the stall, into the bucket, and fill it up without risking our arm. And we could just stand on our tiptoes and look in quite easily because we weren't having to look over our arm and our hand. Fill the water bucket up. There you go.
That's so clever because you were really smart and got the on-off switch that has the threads on both ends. Mm-hmm. And then you can just take that little chunk. You save the old hose that has holes in it and use that for the little chunk. Mm-hmm. Darned clever because, oh, man, I hate that. You have your arm, even if you're not a short person, it's very awkward to stuff your arm through there. Mm-hmm. And if you're not paying attention, there's somebody down the aisle yelling at you about, the barn cat scratching their saddle.
Yeah.
You're talking to them and all of a sudden there's somebody, old Flame is chewing on your arm before you know it.
Yep. Or bumped into you and bent your elbow backwards.
Oh.
That's not nice.
Oh, yeah. Bent your arm in a way it shouldn't get bent. Oh.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I never noticed until this point that those sprayers had threads on the end.
Well, I was keenly aware of that because we've gone through a lot of those. We used to buy them in the 5-pack.
Yeah, they don't have a real long lifespan.
They don't, no. You always have to have spares on hand because they break at the most inopportune moment.
Yes, they do.
So save that chunk of hose that has a hole in the end.
Yep.
Save and put them together so that you don't have to shove your arms inside the stall. It's a clever idea. Yay, Michelle. Mm-hmm. And my tip for the day is to guard against emergencies. Save yourself some grief at a bad moment by having your farrier teach you how to pull a horseshoe.
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
You bring the horse in from the field. He stepped on a shoe. He's popped it loose. He's got it hanging out, cockeyed, crooked. He's got clinches sticking up. There's an abscess in there. You need to soak it, and you need to get the shoe off. And just have him show you how to do it. And it doesn't take a whole bunch of tools. It doesn't take a whole bunch of expense, just a little bit of grit and determination.
And it's not hard, really.
It's not real hard.
You just have to know how to do it.
It's technique. It's all about technique. And have him show you how to do it properly. You really only need a couple of tools. You don't have to get the expensive versions of the tools.
No.
In a pinch, a pair of side cutters. Some people call them wire cutters. Mm-hmm. A claw hammer and a large flathead screwdriver will get a horseshoe off.
Yep.
And then what I recommend is each time your farrier comes out to do your horse or a horse, you pull off one of the shoes.
Yep.
And that way you get some practice. You have somebody kind of coaching your way along. And before you know it, you will be competent. And next time you're at a horse show, somebody gets their horse's shoe a little bit cockeyed, the nails are threatening to go where the nails shouldn't go, you're going to pull it off, and they're going to owe you a cocktail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've done this. This is such a good thing to know.
Yeah. Even if you have just one horse.
Well, all it takes is one to step on a clinch or a clip.
Oh, ow! Oh, that's the worst. Yeah.
That'll leave you with a big thing to deal with. So.
Yeah, that'll leave you with a vet bill most likely. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll be able to get that out of there, get that horse some relief.
Yeah, and for those of you out there who don't have horses that wear shoes or don't deal a lot with horseshoes, what Michelle's referring to is when the horse's foot is on the ground and part of the shoe comes up around and is on the outside of the hoof wall. It's kind of triangle shaped. That is called a clip, and they're either toe clips, which means they're in the center in the front, or they're quarter clips, which means they're on either side at about 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock.
Yep.
And sometimes when the horses get their shoe loose but not off, they wrench the shoe sideways just perfect. So that pointy triangle goes right up through the sole of their foot. And you can imagine how painful and how infected that can get. So good idea to have your farrier show you how to do it. If he laughs at you, I would strongly recommend firing your farrier.
Get a new one, yeah. Definitely.
Because it's an excellent skill. That doesn't mean you have to be an ace and you don't have to have the fancy tools, but you need to be able to get your horse out of a predicament.
Yep.
There we go. Another great pair of tips. Michelle, thanks a bunch.
You bet.
Well, there you go. To listen to all of Michelle's tips, just go to horsetipdaily.com and go to the experts drop-down menu on the left. You can also go to the website at Right Lead Equestrian Center, rightlead.com, and see what the whole gang over there is up to in Louisiana. Don't forget to support our sponsors here on Horse Tip Daily because they make these podcasts possible. Support for today's podcast has been provided by Kentucky Performance Products. Find them online at kppusa.com. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.